You can start whenever you want.
Okay. All right. I'd like to call this meeting to order September 1st, 2020 at 7:14, the council workshop meeting. I just want to mention, of course, that we had an executive session prior to the start of this meeting. Who would like to take over for the mayor for the flag and flag salute and invocation?
Hey, Joe, is that
Yes.
that's not Bob, that's not Rogo, is it?
What?
There's a Bob on here. Just want to make sure that's not the mayor.
Let me see. Hello. Is the mayor on this meeting, or is that Councilman Ruskowski? Okay,
I'm trying to unmute him, Joe.
All right, so I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So let's move on to the next phase. Roll call. I'm sorry, forgive me. I just want to mention that we did have an executive session prior to the start of this meeting regarding personnel matters.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, move to roll call.
Council President Papaleo.
Present.
Councilman Kyle Willis.
Present.
Councilwoman Lee Daly.
Present.
Councilman Nick Waters.
Here.
Councilwoman Melinda Isaac.
Present.
Councilman Jason McGuigan.
Present.
Councilman Robert Ruskowski.
Present.
Mayor Bob Fry. I believe he's absent. Patrick, you're here. And I'm present.
Okay, very good. Audience participation?
There was no audience participation.
Okay. Engineers report?
Thanks, Joe.
No problem.
Not too much going on. The 2019 road program, everything was submitted. Thanks, Joe, for getting those canceled checks over to Colleen. That was all submitted to PennDOT. We should be seeing a check we'll see an email from Marjorie Paris first, and then we'll be seeing a check from the county, for the county aid. That'll go into your general fund. The 2020 road program, we spoke to AF Damon last week. They're waiting on their bonds for the contracts. Once we have those, we'll get those over to Alex for Alex to review, and then we can get those executed, get the 329 and get that program started. We're probably looking sometime mid-October when he'll be in the area to be doing that program. Andrew and I met with the Office of Housing Community Development for the sanitary sewer rehabilitation project that we were awarded the Community Development Block Grant. That's a pretty hefty $293,000 grant for sanitary sewer rehab. So that project, there's sub-recipient agreements and a signature card that have to be signed. The one thing, the CDBG contracts, and I don't know that Alex is on the call tonight, but I just want to remind him, Andrew, if you do speak with him, remind him that this is a HUD contract. So a lot of the language that's in it cannot be changed. Just want to make sure that he's not trying to reinvent a wheel in getting that completed. We had received the approval for the MPDES permit, and so we're looking at a pre-construction meeting for the new complex shortly. And probably lastly that I spoke to Matt Kirst from Bowler. He's supposed to be getting plans over to me. He was supposed to have them to me a couple weeks ago. They ran into a little delay, we'll call it, but they are going to get the plans over. I might suggest that between now and then, we'll be able to put a resolution together for final land development for the self-storage. They have their NPDES. They're probably about 2 to 3 months out on their FEMA approval for the floodplain. But at this point, that's a third party. Any of the comments that we have, they've addressed. So we could go ahead, give them a conditional final approval at the next meeting. And I believe that's all I have for this evening.
Very good. Thank you, Lisa. I wanted to ask you about, and I asked Joe Roto about it, the traffic triangle at Del Mar and Primus. I wanted to know if we could get together some sort of a plan to green that. It's an ugly concrete slab. It is just unsightly. I wanted to know if there was anything we could do to green that. So I just wanted to bring that up just to sort of, I don't know, what's the process for getting the ball rolling on that?
It's interesting. I don't know. There's one section that is PennDOT roadway, and the next section is actually Borough roadway. We'd have to check, but quite frankly, there is a Pico Green Region grant that is due the end of October. And it's for projects like that. It's only maximum of $10,000. There is a match to it though. So if you were to get a $10,000 grant, you would have to match $10,000 to do it. But it might actually be a really good fit for that program. You're not looking at major dollars to get that done. Probably the biggest thing would be getting the concrete out.
Right. That's what I
So we might want to talk about that at the next meeting. Let me see I will be able to find out whether or not that's in PennDOT right of way or that's in our own right of way. If it's our own right of way, it's not a big issue. If it's PennDOT, we'll just have to go through some channels to make sure that they're okay with taking that mountable curb out and putting flowers in it. They'll probably make us do a maintenance agreement.
Okay.
They have agreements now that you would enter into with PennDOT, that you'll take the responsibility of the maintenance of the vegetative area.
Okay. All right.
Doug,
Very
can I
good.
ask a question?
Shoot.
That section you're talking about, people across the street there,
Mhm.
how are they going to do it? Like if you move it,
I don't know if the crosswalk goes across that island, but we could plaza it and make it a more pleasant walkthrough. It doesn't have to be so ugly.
Okay.
What we would probably end up doing if we end up that it is within PennDOT's right of way, we would probably have to go to PennDOT with an ADA ramp application to make that current ADA standards, because I don't believe that it is. So if we're going to do it, that would be the way to do it.
I'm just taking notes here. Sorry, Lisa. But yeah, that's okay. I just wanted to get the discussion started for that. And we'll follow up by phone sometime this week or next about it, whatever I need to do or whatever we need to do to start that process. I think you just told me. But thank you. Move on to public finance and administration. I wanted to discuss the establishment of the driveway easement restoration advisory board, or whatever it is that we're going to call it. I'd like to get that moving at the regular meeting this month. I'd like to have it, established. I don't know if I require a vote from council, but I'd like to start getting some residents together who want to participate in that. I have 4 volunteers that expressed interest throughout the course of the year when we made mention of it. So we've got some stuff there that we're working on. Does anybody want to add to that? I'm trying to look at my list here. No? Okay. We discussed the traffic triangle. We're good there. And to discuss the parking permit and meter parking plan. I mean, the projections are pretty good in terms of the revenue that will generate in order to facilitate the driveway repairs. First order of business would be to, you know, get the resident involvement moving. We could, you know, we have to get that started, I think, next meeting. Does anybody have anything to add? No? All right. Public Works, Councilman Willis.
No new business at this time.
Joe, we had the timekeeping policy under Public Finance and Administration as well.
Oh, forgive me. Let me back that up. We did send out. Sorry about that. You didn't send it on my revised agenda, so I forgot. I didn't have it in my notes.
It is on it, believe it or not.
Oh, yes, it is. Whoops. Sorry about that. I do see it.
I
So
forgive you someday.
that's, yeah, sorry. It's my bad. So we did come up with there are some edits that need to be done on that, just typos that are I noticed when I was reading through it. Did anybody take a look at it in their packets that were emailed? Anybody have any objections to it? I'd like to vote on that the next meeting and make a, you know, a decision about, you know, a time policy. I can't believe there never was one, but we have to have one to have a productive work environment. You just have to. So did everybody read it? Is it? Okay. All right. We did Public Works, no new business. Public Safety, Councilman Ruskowski.
No new business.
Public Health and Literacy, Councilwoman Isaac.
No new business.
Municipal Planning and Zoning, Councilman Waters. Councilman Waters.
I'm
Nick,
sorry. I'm sorry. No new business.
All right.
I'm still on mute. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Parks and Recreation, Councilwoman Daly.
I have business. We have scheduled the movie night for September 18th, which is a Friday night. The rain date is September 25th. I forget, Andrew, what was the movie again?
Playing with fire, catching fire, something with fire, John Cena with fire. I don't know. It's something like that. It's a relatively new movie.
Fire. True Love Church picked it. Andrew and I spoke. They wanted to do, True Love wants to do the advertisement. I think because we are getting the license that we should probably be the one doing the advertisement. So we're going to work on that and get that advertised as soon as we definitely nail down these dates for 100%. And then my only other thing is I am also going to be having a committee meeting to discuss what Halloween is going to look like in the world of COVID-19. I know residents are starting to ask as to whether trick-or-treating is going to be allowed, if council's going to say one way or the other how we feel. I'm not sure how everybody else feels. I'd love your input on that.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know that we have the jurisdiction to say it's not allowed, do we?
Yeah, I don't think we can. I mean,
No, I didn't think we did either, but people are worried. So
yeah.
Patrick, what are your what can
I
we?
think it's up to the individuals, like what they feel is right. I guess the governor, as it gets closer, will probably talk about that. I mean, it is September 1st, so we should hear something soon, but it would be kind of sad if they took away Halloween from the kids.
I mean, how does everybody feel about doing the event at Borough Hall still? I mean, that's,
I don't think that we can do that. The committee is going to talk about some other fun ways of getting the community to do Halloween. And we're going to do that by, I said, once school starts, even if it's virtual, then I'll have the committee meeting and we'll figure out some fun ideas to get the kids still celebrating the holiday without necessarily bringing hundreds of kids inside to a haunted house.
okay. All right. And there was one other thing I gave you for tonight with the.
I forgot, I do have all the fun. All right. So we had talked about doing a youth advisory panel. And so we wanted to try to get that up and running. It would be Youth Advisory Committee, helping find out what the kids are interested in. Teenagers, we got a lot of complaints that kids are getting into trouble because they don't have anything to do or anywhere to be. So if we can create a place on council, not specifically on council, but within council, for them to be heard, and we can get their opinions, that's something that I think we all can agree would be important to help keep them out of trouble, especially if they're not going to school. So I would like, if there's no objections, to create a youth advisory committee.
I think that's an awesome idea, Lee. Sorry to cut you off earlier.
Okay.
All right. And I think, Lee, you and I have a nominee in mind to chair that up.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
So I wanted to recommend Sierra, is it Coleman? Sierra Coleman?
Yes.
From Folcroft to maybe head that program up, and to bring more of her peers in who show leadership qualities or want to get involved in their community. When somebody shows that they have leadership skills, I think it would be wise for us to, in a mentor capacity, to give them a forum to hone those skills. So that would be my recommendation. We could decide that, I guess, at the regular voting meeting. Is that all right with everyone? Okay. All right. Very good. Anything else, Lee?
That's it.
All right. Municipal legislation, Councilman McGuigan.
No new business.
Okay. New construction committee.
We have a little bit of business there. Lisa, I just saw the email where you said that the conservation has showed up on some in-person social distance meetings. Is that correct?
It's true, yes.
So my objection to doing a Zoom meeting for this is we're literally going to start a construction project there. I don't think it's outrageous that we all meet in person, socially distanced, to go over the project. And the site I have in mind for it is outside, undercover of the library decking area there, or porch, whatever you would call it. This way it is in open air, there is coverage, and we're actually on site to where the project's going to be. So once, Lisa, we're waiting on some people to get back, but once we get that meeting together, that could be a good site for it.
Yeah, I don't know whether this is Michelle Wheeler, because it hasn't been, there's 3 different people that have these meetings, the pre-cons, 3 different specialists from Conservation District. The only one that we've met with face to face is Connor. So I don't know whether this is something with Michelle, but quite frankly, we could still bring the rest of the group together and do a not necessarily a Zoom meeting, but have a conference call with her with just a phone.
I think that's fair.
If she has any reservations about coming out to the site, we just did one last week for the Wawa. Bob Lynn's guys were there. The people from Wawa were there. We probably had about 10 people, everybody with masks, everybody socially distanced. We got our business done. The best part about it is everybody's together on the site. So if you have questions about something that maybe not so clear on a plan, you can discuss it and get it resolved there.
And also to that point, Joe, Council President Papaleo, brought up that he wants to bring up at that meeting that we do time-lapse photography, and I think that's a good idea. Is there anything in the pre-construction phase that any council people would like me to address, or ideas that you would have that should be brought up at this time?
Any suggestions, any wishes for the new construction, anything? This is going once, going twice kind of thing. So if you got anything to say it now.
No, I mean, when I looked at the plans, I was hyped. I think you guys did a great job of designing the community center, and I'm very excited for it.
And I think what Joe's point is, and it's a good one, is that, this can be something that I think, we'll remember for a long time. So having that time-lapse photography is something that can go up on the website. So we'll make sure that comes up.
All right, very good.
Yeah, does anybody have a drone?
Yes.
You would, wouldn't you? Nerd.
It might not be a bad thing that every once in a while to, there's companies that do it, but if we can save some money on it, just every once in a while go through the site and just do an aerial of it. I think that would be pretty exciting for everybody to see. The one thing that we do need to discuss, though, is what we're going to do with the playground. And do we fence that off for a period of time while this construction's going on, so we don't have kids right next to the active job site?
Yeah,
So
I think we're gonna
have to think about.
Yeah, we're probably gonna have to, just because it's too close to.
Sorry, Joe. I was going to say, I actually think we should be fencing that off. While we don't want
I think so.
And we can't stop them from playing at the playground there. But if we have it fenced, I don't know what type of fence we could get, but we need something that would keep them out of that.
Mindy, we can just put the national fence over that's going to be there anyway. So that's a good time to bring it up now.
What do you mean, there's a plan for a fence around it to begin with? Is there some sort of lock or?
Right. So going to be fencing around the construction area, and they usually use national fencing as part of the project. Then that.
Right. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. They're like portable fences that have legs on them,
Correct.
Right. All right. So that's good. Add that, I guess, to the list. Anything else, Jason?
Not for me. If there's nothing else from anybody else, no other business to report.
All right. Police chief's report.
Everything's going pretty good at the police department. We did have a Black Lives Matter march on Saturday. It was a peaceful march. We didn't have any issues. We worked well with Sierra Coleman, communication-wise, back and forth, so it went well. And the only other thing is that we have is we had a Delmar Pharmacy donate a new thermometer, point-and-shoot thermometer for the officers. So that was nice of him, Brian.
Nice. Is that everything, Chief?
That's everything I can think of right now, yeah.
All right. Solicitor's report, although that's kind of moot, I think.
Yeah, Joe, thank you. Just so that everybody who's on the call would know, my name is Patrick Hitchens. I'm one of the partners at Kilkenny Law. Unfortunately, Alex is in Pittsburgh right now helping out his mom with some family matters. So I'm just filling in his shoes for tonight. I know he's been busy doing stuff for Folcroft. He does keep me up to date. I do talk to him. In fact, I saw on your agenda was one of the nepotism ordinance. I know we had talked about that internally here, so I don't know if that was going to be discussed tonight as well. So I can.
I was going to bring that up under new business.
Oh, okay, I apologize, but I will certainly, Lisa, I'll certainly relay to him your comments about the CDBG and self-storage resolution. And Mindy, I was just going to chime in. You stole what I was going to say. I'd wait to see what the governor's going to say when it comes to Halloween, and then you kind of go from there in terms of what the governor's directing or suggesting folks do for that. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Joe. Thanks.
Perfect. Okay. Finance director's report.
Hi, Joe. Yeah, I just need to set up some meetings for the budget process with the finance committee. I've already started the initial contacting Keystone and some of our vendors to see what any cost increases and so I started the initial stuff.
Okay.
I want to get the budget committee together and want to know what the goals are, council and so forth. And I know you've emailed me some things you'd like to see.
Yes. So everybody, please, if you have anything that is a pet project or something that interests you or something that we should be investing in that you want to propose to me, please email me this week. Joe, when can you meet? We could talk about that as soon as possible. We can get started.
If we're in person, whenever I'm available, whatever is good for you guys.
Okay, so I'm going to give you guys until Friday to get me your wish list, and then we're going to start that discussion. I mean, there's plenty of time, but so After Friday, Joe? Sometime after
Yeah,
Friday?
that's fine. Yeah, you just tell me when.
Okay. All right.
Is it our wish list, Joe, or the library's wish list as well? Just so I can get in touch with Jen about that.
Yes. Anything that it doesn't have to just be pertaining to your committee. If there's something that you think is going to be good for town that, is an expenditure that we'd have to
Oh, of
consider.
course. I know. I was just wondering if the library's included in that.
Yeah,
Of
it
course.
is.
Of
Yes.
course.
All right. I'll tell Jen by Friday. She's got to give me the list, her wish list.
Okay. Very good.
That's her. Okay.
Thank you. No, that's good. Make sure she does that because we did get that. I don't think we got one from her last year. So, Borough Manager's report.
So my computer is completely frozen, Steve. Oh, now it looks like it might be coming up again. Steve, we need to talk like tomorrow morning if possible about this computer. I need a new computer. I wanted to just mention a couple of things. One, Folcroft, the first voting precinct that previously voted at St. John's Lutheran Church. In the primary, it was moved to Folcroft Union Church, as you may recall. I don't know if you know. For whatever reason, the Board of Elections would like to move this precinct to Borough Hall. They called me today. I tentatively said yes, this shouldn't be a problem because I didn't think we could afford to wait to our voting meeting to make a motion. They moved so quickly that they put signs on the telephone pole out front of Borough Hall already. I saw them as I was leaving. I was shocked that they did it that quickly. I mean, they did it within minutes. Anyway, they're going to come by tomorrow morning with an ADA person and see if they want to do it in the gym or in the hallway in front of our office. I'll be the point of contact. Worst case scenario, we'll open up the building for them at 6:15 in the morning on election day and close it for them at 8:45 at night on election day or whatever. And I've kind of worked out the pickup process for some of the machines.
Andrew, I would want to just, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I definitely think we should recommend the borough gym because we would want one door in and one door out. That vestibule between the borough office and the main doors is, I mean, it's sufficient for normal circumstances, but not for I don't think given the I think the gym would be best, but let them review it and figure out what, that's going to be my push is for the gym.
Joe and I spoke about this earlier, and Kathy, I did tell Kathy I'd like her to be there for when the ADA people come by. I have no idea when that's going to be, so I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'll give you more information at our September 15th meeting.
Mindy,
I was just going to say, so it's the first precinct, which would be my precinct. So we would be moving to the borough?
Correct.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, just checking. It'll be weird. I think we've always been St. John's. Am I right? I don't think.
Yes. So.
Okay.
Hey, why are we getting involved in that?
I was asked if they could use our location. It was that's what I was asked.
Right.
I take it that both leaders weighed in on this already?
No, I was not. So from what I understand, I don't know if there's some sort of problem with St. John's Lutheran, but they were not there to open the doors last election. There was some miscommunication about who had the key. Harry McGuigan did, in fact, I believe, still have it. Well, I'm not going to get into that. That's not, but that essentially, I don't think the election board wants to do it at St. John's any longer. I think they've made the decision because of.
No, to be clear, I don't know that there's any issue there, but they should really be contacting you and him to deal with this stuff.
Well, I mean, they're still in preliminary arrangements. I mean, they probably called Andrew to see if push comes to shove, if they could use Borough Hall.
I'm sorry, I thought Andrew just said they posted that they were using Borough Hall.
Yeah, I mean, I just told them that I would talk to council about it tonight and that, preemptively I would be fine with it and support it, but
Right.
They already did post the sign.
We need people to understand where it is that they're going to be voting now, not 3 days or the day of the election day. Somebody doesn't show up and open a precinct. We're not doing that.
Agreed.
So that's not happening.
Mindy, I hear you, but my point is, it's not for us to agree as council people. It's not our decision.
Right. I mean, ultimately it's the Bureau of Elections decision. They consult with the two-party chairman as a courtesy, but they don't have to.
Are you sure, Joe?
I mean, I'm pretty sure.
So if I can interject here, I would encourage you probably not to discuss election law and defer to the election board with that. I think the only question for you folks tonight would just be confirming for Andrew that you're okay, that if the election board wants to use the borough building for the election, you're okay with that. I think that's your only sole focus should just be on whether or not you're okay to allow the election board, if they want, to use the borough building. That's it. I wouldn't get into what the election board does or doesn't have to do. I think that's a separate matter that you need to focus on for tonight.
Okay. Andrew, was there anything else?
Yes. At our last meeting, we've discussed this previously, the need for a code enforcement report. So I put together a report. I did not send it out, but I can send it out if you'd like it. It's not something that I thought needed to be voted on because it had people's personal information. I decided not to do that. I will provide it to you upon request, but it's not something that I wanted to make public. In the month of August 2020, we issued a combined total of 284 code enforcement violation fines to various households. The combined value, so far as I understand it, of those fines is approximately, but not definitely, $9,000. I also put together a more comprehensive report. I'm still working on the annual total. We had collected the information in a different manner previously, so it's harder to put together. But I've actually gone all the way back several years now. And to put comparisons, I was asked to sort of put together a report on our standings based on previous reports. So I looked at previous months to try and compare, because obviously we're not doing fines or tickets for tall grass. We don't have those issues in January. We may not have as many issues with garbage, or maybe we have more. And so it'd be interesting to see that. So in the month of August 2019, we issued 26 tickets.
Wait, last year?
Of last year, yes.
Compared to 200 and how many?
284 this month.
Okay, so we're stepping it up. That's what I want to hear. That's and like I said, I don't think you have to do this long. You enforce it consistently for long enough, and people will adhere. They'll make sure that they don't get a fine next week. If you know what I mean. So I'm glad that you took care of that. Thank you, Andrew.
For anybody that's listening, as I've been directed previously by members of council, if you receive a ticket for an issue, please, we'd like to fix the issue. We're not looking to collect the revenue. Please call me if you are, I can't guarantee how it will be resolved, and I don't want to make a commitment in a statement, but all I can say is, like, the borough will try to help connect you with resources like Habitat for Humanity. They just extended their deadlines to be all year round for their home repair program. I'll even scan and send over the application for home repair if it's a structural issue, if you need assistance with. So please give the borough a call. Let's see if we can help you.
And Andrew, I would, yeah, that's great. Thank you. If a ticket could be forgiven because the problem's been corrected, I'm cool with that too. I don't know if anybody else has any problems with that, but again, you made the point that we're not looking for the revenue, we're looking for the compliance. So if getting the ticket makes you get the thing fixed, that we could talk about that too. If people want to call, they should call. So, anything else from you? You're
I'm good. Sorry, I already muted it.
Anything under old business from anyone? Under new business, I would like to discuss the anti-nepotism ordinance. I don't know a lot of the details yet. We seem to have a format with what other municipalities have done. Alex had sent over an ordinance from, I think it was Norristown, which I liked. It wasn't too exclusionary, but there was more definitive language in terms of what would be considered appropriate and inappropriate in terms of the practice of nepotism here or moving forward. Is there anything else that I'm forgetting about that, Andrew? I think you're frozen. Are you frozen?
So I'm doing it with my phone, so it's a pain in the butt. Sometimes it doesn't activate. Yeah, so we had discussed this in the previous meeting. It evidently hadn't been clear. Council members need to direct our solicitor to advertise and draft this ordinance for Folcroft. if they don't disagree and they don't say anything, or if they disagree and they don't say anything, regardless, it can't be done. So it needs to be a direct order from council, a consensus. It's not a vote. It's not a motion. Patrick, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, to draft and then publish and then that ordinance.
Yeah, so I was just going to say two things. One, I happen to be the primary for Norristown, so I'm familiar with what Alex has sent over to you, because as I had mentioned, he was talking to me about examples, and I did share with him the one from Norristown. And two, I would agree with Andrew. I mean, I'm not familiar with what your past practice is, but it's always a good practice if you would make some sort of formal action to direct the solicitor to draft and prepare, and then for the borough to advertise the ordinance so then it can then be acted upon. Since it's not a zoning ordinance, it would just have to be advertised one time in a newspaper of general circulation, but it would need to be advertised as an ordinance. And so it is important to get that direction from council for both the staff's sake and for the solicitor's sake.
Those are the details I was referring to when I said I didn't know all the details. So yes, so does anybody object to me directing the solicitor to advertise the ordinance? Again, it does not make it law. You will have the opportunity to vote on that at the meeting that we choose for, to revisit that. Does anybody object to that?
Joe, I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I'm clear on this. So we would direct him to advertise the ordinance before we read the ordinance?
Would you want to get a copy of the ordinance before?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Patrick, you wouldn't know. Andrew, was everybody sent a copy of that example?
Not by me, to be honest with you. I actually don't know if I was sent it. I may have been on that email with you. I don't remember.
I think I have it from Alex. Forgive me. That was my fault. Maybe I should have disseminated that to the rest of council. I'll get that to you. And again, I mean, we would have some time in terms of how he would draft it. I don't even know if it'll be in time for next meeting. So I'll get that to you as soon as possible. Jason, does anybody else want a copy of that?
So can we direct him to draft the ordinance and then distribute it to council? And then once we've had a chance to look at it, we can.
Well, I think it would be good for people to look at the one that exists and raise any objections, because we could write the ordinance how we want it. It doesn't have to be the exact Norristown ordinance. So if that's what we want to do, I mean, I'm happy to accommodate. I mean, I wouldn't want them to draft an ordinance that's been advertised if there maybe are some small segments of language that could have been changed to get a unanimous vote. If that can be done, we should give, the other side an opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
So Joe, just a question about Norristown. What is Norristown's population?
Total, I have no idea. Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you. I know it's the county seat in Montgomery County.
I believe it's 23,000, but don't quote me at that.
So
thank you, Andrew.
My point is that we want to make sure that in an ordinance like this, that on unpaid positions and boards, committees, that we don't at all hamstring ourselves, because look, a lot of times everyone on here is going to figure out that sometimes family members end up on committees because nobody else wants to be on them.
Because we couldn't find, yep, that's true.
Well, I would encourage you to take a look first at what the languages of the Norristown ordinance, and that might satisfy or allay your concerns. I mean, frankly, from an ethics standpoint, council would already have certain obligations when it came only to paid positions, and not necessarily with regard to volunteer positions. But Joe, I was just going to mention to you, procedure-wise, again, if all you're doing is directing the solicitor to prepare an ordinance for council to review, that's fine. If you want us to prepare and advertise, we can do that. Of course, at the time that the ordinance is advertised for the meeting, council could choose to make changes or not adopt it. Nothing requires council to have to take action at the meeting of which it is announced that it's been advertised for. It does happen where you might think about it some more and go, you know what, I really want to make these tweaks here and there. And if you make some tweaks that is more than minor in nature, we would always encourage you or advise you to re-advertise before you adopt it to begin with. So, okay. And just because you're advertising doesn't mean you're necessarily going to adopt it. But again, I'm not trying to put any pressure. I just wanted you to be aware of that procedural difference.
Right. Okay. All right. So then I think we can direct the solicitor to draft us something, and then we can it's still not advertise it. We don't have to admit, right. So we have something to work with. Does anybody object to that?
Not at all.
Okay. All right. So is that what you needed for the solicitor to begin work on that?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good on my end. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for attending tonight. I appreciate you. And, thank you for your help. Is there anything else anybody would like to add? No? All right. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who motioned?
I like to usually be the first one in for that motion.
Okay. All right, fair enough. And who seconded? I couldn't make out. Okay. So we've got Councilman McGuigan and Councilman Isaac. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Being adjourned. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Night.